Thank you. Please be seated. All right, give it up one more time for Army Sergeant Chris Short! My name is Christina Garashko, and I'm the Senior Community Engagement Coordinator with Homes for Our Troops. It is truly my honor to be here with you all today as we officially hand over the keys to a new specially adapted custom home to Chris and his family. First and foremost, let us take a moment to acknowledge and thank all of our active and retired soldiers, sailors, airmen, Coast Guardsmen, and Marines who have ever worn the uniform of the United States of America. If you have served in our armed forces, could you please stand or raise your hands to be recognized? We thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and your courage. You are what makes this nation great. Thank you to all of our military families, because when they serve, you too make sacrifices. Thank you to the Blue Star families with us today, who have a family member currently serving in our armed forces. And our deepest gratitude to any Gold Star families with us today. Your loved one made the ultimate sacrifice on the battlefield. Our nation is forever grateful, and we will always honor them. We're going to start this ceremony by thanking some key people. I'll briefly tell you a little bit about the work that we do at Homes for Our Troops, introduce the rest of our speakers, concluding with Army Sergeant Chris Short. Next, we'll head over to the front of the house for our flag raising and ribbon cutting ceremony, and then we'll open up the home for tours. So what do we think about that escort this morning? The first thank you goes to our amazing escort, led by the Florida Patriot Guard Riders, the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department, Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, and the Florida Military Vehicle Heritage Group. We would especially like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank all of our law enforcement and first responders for supporting Homes for Our Troops and for keeping this great nation safe. Thank you to Bella Nazaro, the Jupiter High School Army, JROTC, and Caroline Short for leading our opening ceremony this morning. Thank you to all of our corporate partners, fundraisers, and foundations, and a warm welcome to those who are celebrating here with us today, including our national corporate partners, Lockheed Martin, Kraus Auto Group, Kraus Sports and Entertainment, our fundraisers, Knights of Columbus and Jack Chayette, and Jim and Mary Worley with the Schoen Foundation. Thank you to United States Senator Rick Scott's office, Mayor Maria Marino, and Quilts of Valor for being here with us today. Thank you to our amazing general contractor, Jay Kelleher, project manager Eric, their families, and all of the staff and subcontractors at Complete Construction Management. Thank you so much for taking on this build project with us. Now, for those of you who don't know, including this build, Jay and his staff have completed 7 homes for our organization. Jay, we thank you again for continuing to build quality homes for our veterans. Last thank you, I promise. Finally, thank you to you, the community members from Jupiter, Palm Beach County, and the surrounding areas, including all of our donors, our supporters, and volunteers. Today signifies a milestone, not only for Chris and his family, but for all of us who believe in the power of community, support, and the courage and resilience that define our veterans. We thank you so much for supporting Homes for Our Troops and for supporting Sergeant Short today. I know I see a lot of familiar faces. I know a lot of you know me, but by a show of hands, how many of you are attending your very first Homes for Our Troops event today? Excellent. Welcome to hopefully what's the first of many. For those of you who do not know, Homes for Our Troops is a 501c3 national military nonprofit. Our mission is to build and donate specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post-9/11 veterans to enable them to rebuild their lives. Homes for Our Troops is not federally or state funded, so most of our support comes from patriotic, generous people like all of you here today to financially support our mission. We are a highly rated 4-star military charity with Charity Navigator, and we also have an A rating with Charity Watch. Since our inception, nearly 90 cents of every single dollar spent goes directly towards program services supporting our veterans. We were founded in 2004, and as of today, we have completed 415 homes across 45 states. Now, of those 415 homes, 42 of them have been built right here in the state of Florida. Now, although we have just completed Sergeant Short's home, our work is still not done. We currently have 72 active projects across the country, including an additional 11 here in the beautiful state of Florida. In addition, there are over 1,800 service members across this country who have returned home with a life-altering injury, and they are in need of a specially adapted home as well. Therefore, I'd like to encourage you all to join our mission and get involved. Now, there are many ways that you can get involved with our organization, but today I'd like to focus on our monthly giving program, Operation Lasting Support, which is also known as OLS. Joining OLS is one of many ways to give ongoing support to our mission of providing mortgage-free homes for our nation's most severely injured veterans. Each year, Operation Lasting Support helps us push forward 1 to 2 homes that would not have been possible without your help. So the first 10 people who sign up will receive a Homes for Our Troops baseball cap, so please see my colleague Diane, she's over there in the back corner, and she'll be at this table for a little bit, and then in the table in the garage. But when you leave here today, tell your friends, your family, your coworkers, the people you go to church with, all about us. Tell them where you were, what you were doing, but most importantly, why you were here and who you were here for. Encourage them to get involved too, and let's all build homes and rebuild lives together. So now that I've told you a little bit about the work that we do at Homes for Our Troops and how you can get involved, and before I introduce our speakers, I'm going to say a couple words to Chris real quick. Hi, Chris. Chris, it has truly, truly been my honor to be your community engagement coordinator. I hope you fill this home with lots of love, let it be a place of comfort and of peace, but most importantly, a place that you are proud to call your forever home. On behalf of all of the staff from Homes for Our Troops, both here on the ground and back at headquarters in Massachusetts, let me be the first to say welcome home. All right, let's introduce our speakers. Up first, we have a special presentation from Quilts of Valor. Please welcome Teresa Anderson.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting us to participate in this very special event. My name is Teresa Anderson, and with me are team members Carol, Margaret, Louise, and Tuit. We represent the thousands of Quilts of Valor quilters all across the country. The Quilts of Valor Foundation began in 2003 when Catherine Roberts, the mother of a deployed soldier, experienced a dream in which she saw a young soldier alone in a dark, foreboding room, overcome with despair. Then, in a subsequent vision, that same soldier was wrapped in a quilt. The room was calm, tranquil, void of the war demons. Catherine determined in that moment that quilts equal comfort and healing. She knew then what she was called to do. She gathered her friends and family, and they began making quilts for returning soldiers. This was the beginning of what is now the Quilts of Valor Foundation. The very first Quilt of Valor was awarded at Walter Reed Army Medical Center in 2003. From that day until this, the Quilts of Valor Foundation quilters have awarded nearly 420,000 Quilts of Valor to our nation's military veterans and active service members. A Quilt of Valor is an award from your fellow Americans. It is an expression of our gratitude for your service to our country, and we hope that it will become a legacy to your family of the sacrifices that you endured during and after your service to America. We are honored to have the privilege to award Army Sergeant Chris Short a Quilt of Valor. Ladies, would you present the quilt? Chris, this quilt was made with loving care as a gift of thanks for all that you have done to defend and protect our country. We are sincerely grateful for your sacrifice. May this quilt provide you with much warmth and comfort. It's our practice to wrap our veterans in their quilts. I think we might delay that today. Or if you so like, you can have it. No, it won't stay on. We will fold it up for you. Welcome home, Chris. Thank you.
You sure you don't want to keep that on, Chris? It's All right, up next, speaking on behalf of Palm Beach County Commissioners, District 1, please welcome Mayor Maria Marino.
Don't like mic stands. Good morning, all. I am County Commissioner First Maria Marino, Mayor Maria Marino Second. Chris, congratulations. Welcome to your new home. Thank you for your service. Thank you also to your bride, your daughter. That's a hard act to follow, by the way, the quilt. I can just say thank you to our first responders also for being here. Our veterans, thank you so much. It takes a village to make something like this happen. And when you were, where'd you go? When she was talking about how to donate, okay, here you go. www.hfotusa.org. Checkbooks, credit cards, any things you want to do. I used to be a fundraiser, so this is really easy for me to ask people for money. But something like this doesn't happen without your support, without the support of the families that are around here. And I seem to think you've got some nice neighbors, since you got cars parked everywhere, and they said go ahead and do that. So, Palm Beach County is a wonderful place to make your home. We appreciate you doing that. I remember watching your video, and I think you said you used to play golf. Okay, well, I did get the folks from the Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches to donate a couple of tickets for you. It's a nice area at the Cognizant if you would like to go in the end of, February, March, sometime next year? Okay, that's easy. I like when I can hit the easy button and get something done. But Palm Beach County is a wonderful place to live. We're over 2,500 square miles. And I have to say, one of the first things I did as a newly elected county commissioner in 2020 was be at one of these events for Justin Callahan, right around the corner. And, it tugs on your heartstrings when you see an organization that can really fulfill a very needed request. And that's what Homes for Our Troops does. And that's what all of you do by supporting Homes for Our Troops. So from the bottom of my heart, as a Palm Beach County Commissioner, a Palm Beach County resident, the daughter of a mom who was made an orphan during World War II, I just want to thank you all for your service, for choosing here to live, and you have a family right around you and with me. Thank you.
All right, we cannot do the work that we do at Homes for Our Troops without the help and support of our corporate partners, fundraisers, foundations, and supporters. Up next, speaking on behalf of our national corporate partner, Lockheed Martin, please welcome General Manager Caleb Fowler.
All right, good morning. So first of all, Chris, thank you again for your service. Thank you for everybody that came out. What a showing. As a former U.S. Marine and a veteran of the United States military, it's awesome to see everybody come out here and support Chris today. My name is Caleb Fowler, General Manager and Director of Operations for the Lockheed Martin Florida branch down here. I'm only about 10 minutes from his house, really. Our plant's located right out here outside off the Beeline Highway. I just want to take a few minutes and just kind of thank everybody again. Lockheed Martin is a U.S. global security company. We've got about 121,000 employees over many, many countries, every state. And I'll tell you this, we got a fifth of our employees are veterans. To save everybody the short math, that's about 25,000 veterans right now currently employed at Lockheed Martin. So when we go and we're doing our outreach and we're doing our donations and charities and everything that we're setting up for communities, I'll personally tell you that the veterans communities are the ones that we go after most of the time. So thank you very much. Veterans, reservists, and military spouses are critical to the success of Lockheed Martin. We have multiple veterans and military spouses that are employed right here in Palm Beach County, right here in West Palm Beach. With everything we do in our daily work, we honor the legacy of those that have served and those that have sacrificed so much for our nation, including Army Sergeant Chris Short. Thank you, Chris, for your service and your sacrifice to this country. In partnership with Homes for Our Troops and Lockheed Martin, we hope that this house just brings you and your family loving memories from here on out. Homes for Our Troops, the work you're doing is life-changing. That's the first house that I've ever walked into, and I can see just firsthand how that would change your life. So thank you for Homes for Our Troops. And most of all, welcome your family, welcome home, and I just want to thank all of you guys, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, up next, speaking on behalf of Kraus Auto Group and Kraus Sports and Entertainment, please welcome President and CEO, Vernon Kraus.
Good morning. I'll just tell you very quickly that my next door neighbor called me about, I guess it was a year ago, and mentioned that he was having a get-together at his house right next door. So I said to my wife, I said, well, we really haven't met him much, so let's go over and see Dan and Stephanie Rozier. And I really didn't know that there was I thought it was a cocktail party. And it was. But there we met, and I'm so thankful, and I thank to this day for inviting us. And it was a very moving evening. And I didn't really know how to get involved or what. I didn't know anything about the organization. It was a nice evening. I met a number of people, and I said to my wife, I said, you know, we're involved with a lot of charities, and I don't know one that would be more worthwhile than this. And so I called a buddy of mine who was a retired lieutenant colonel in the Army, and asked him about General Tom, and I just said, you know, is this, you know, because, you know, you want to make sure that you're getting involved with the right organization, and he spoke very highly of you and said this would be a good one. And so from that, we decided to help Chris, his wife, and his daughter, and I'll never forget the talk you gave at an event a few months ago. It just, you know, I said to my wife, if I could buy stock in her, I would buy stock. Because there's not a doubt in my mind you're going to be an extremely successful person. So anyway, I don't really have anything more to add other than, you know, when we walked through the house, first of all, and who built the house? I know that there, you know, and I want to compliment you because, you know, my wife and I built a number of houses. That's a really well-built house, and I mean, it's really a nice house, and, you know, thank you for doing that. So, and I definitely want to thank my wife because, you know, your spouse has to be along with you on something like this, and she's very, very, very supportive and knows that this is a worthwhile, such a worthwhile thing. And, you know, and I would hope, you know, so when you walk through, it's unfurnished, and so maybe we can, you know, find out if there's any other needs, and I'll be happy to help, you know, and you know, I know that there's people that, you know, where we live, they build new houses and have furniture, and you know, I don't know what they do with it, but I'm going to find out and see if, you know, and see if we can add aspect to this, to your organization, where, you know, I'm sure there's people that would be more than willing to donate furniture if they knew that there was a need. So, but anyway, that's all I have to say. I can't tell you that this has been good for my wife and I also, because doing good things makes us feel good, and while we help others feel good. So, thank you very much.
Up next, we have one of our amazing fundraisers. Please give a warm welcome to Jack Chayette.
Okay. Hello to everyone. I am Jack, and this is the first time I was involved with Homes for Our Troops. So let me tell you a little bit about Homes for Our Troops and how I got started. You know, I sent an email to Homes for Our Troops asking, well, how can I get involved? And within 5 minutes, Krista called me back and said, oh yeah, you can be involved. But I told her, I don't really know what I'm doing. And then today, people still say, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, that was the laughter. Now I'll get serious. So, you know, I hosted a 5K event out at the Elliott Museum in Stewart. And we had over 100 people show up, donating money, running an event. Chris was there, Holly was there, the kids. And it was Chris was so humbling, and people just wanted to take pictures with him and shake his hand. It was just a great moment that day. Also, by raising money, I went to, I must have given 100 speeches, even though this sounds like my first speech. But I must have given 100 speeches for groups from 5 people to 1,000 people at the Riverwalk in Stewart on Sunday afternoons. I would show up every Sunday and give my speech about how to donate money and pick up my flyer, and they could donate money by signing up with using the QR code or just donating money in my basket. And you wouldn't believe how many veterans would come up to me, Vietnam veterans, everybody, and putting a 5, a 10, a 20 in my bucket. You know, I asked them, 5, 10, 20, a Bitcoin, whatever they want. So I'd like to thank a couple of people here in particular. Bill and Donna from the Double Roads Restaurant in Jupiter, who hosted a fundraiser for me. We raised a lot of money that day. And Pat McGee, if you stand up, Pat, from the Love Medicine Band, his band played that day. His band played that day and donated all their salary to the fund. So thank you, Pat. So this has been the best thing I ever did in my life, besides raising my own children. And I want to thank Chris for his service, and Holly. It was so nice to meet all of you, and the kids. So let me just end this way, and this is how I ended all my speeches. And most of you know this, but let me repeat it. You know that less than 1% of all Americans are in the armed services, protecting 99% of us. So thank you very much.
At this time, I would like to introduce you to someone who knows Chris pretty well. Please welcome his friend and fellow Homes for Our Troops home recipient, Army Sergeant Chad Rosansky.
Okay, I'm going to try to do this without the microphone. If you guys can't hear me, let me know and I'll switch it up. First off, I have a speech prepared, but I wanted to start with what I see today. Patriot Guards, you guys have been leading the way for years now. You were the tip of the spear. Thank you for what you've done. Thank you for making my life better. I remember when the mentality was trying to change, and you guys put a stop to that. Thank you very much. the Honor Guard. I don't see them right now, but they did a fantastic job. I was watching them practice, honing in their skills, and they were on point. Who was it that sung the national anthem? You did a phenomenal job. I hope that you sing that song in a stadium full of people. Let's go down the line here. For the donors, thank you so much for what you do. Words mean a lot, but it doesn't matter if action is not followed afterwards. So thank you for putting words in the action. Chris's life is better. My life is better. And when you think about us, you're just throwing a rock into a pond at that point. Now you have all these ripple effects. So now Holly, all these children, my family, this guy back here with the daughter on his lap. This is the end goal here. It's not just us. It affects everybody. I'm in a better mood. He's in a better mood. We're in a better place to go out and engage with people. And so thank you very much. Lockheed Martin. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to do my job. I was in the Army. I was a 13 Foxtrot, also known as a Fisker. So what I did is I would call and request for artilleries, mortars, indirect fire, and close air support. So thank you for doing your contribution to allow guys like us to get out there and put the fight towards the enemy. Thank you very much. I've got to spend some time in this community, in your area, and I absolutely love it. South Florida is a very beautiful place, and I look forward to spending more time here, especially now that there is a house here that I can actually use the bathroom. It's a big deal. I have known Chris for a long time. It was actually a mistaken identity. He was looking for another Chad, and he called me, and it just kind of worked out. We've been friends ever since. I remember Caroline and my son growing up just knee high, nut high, and over the years. And I couldn't be more proud of her and how she's grown to be the person that she is today. This is our future. These children are our future, and they're worth investing. All right, let's get to what I actually took time to think about today. Thank you for the community responders, first responders, police officers. To think about this before I start. To the builders and the project manager. I can look around here and I can see the attention to detail that you guys have put into this house. It's not go unnoticed. It is absolutely beautiful, down to the landscaping, to the final details, and I can't wait to get inside to see the best of it. Thank you guys. It really Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm stoked to be here to celebrate my brother Chris, a guy who's not only a hero, but someone who is about to trade his gear stand in for a front porch. But knowing him, he'll probably still shoot something. Let's start with a massive thank you to Homes for Our Troops. What do? Building custom homes for veterans like Chris, who has given so much. Is beyond incredible. They've taken home is where the heart is and turned it into home is where the ring is. Which is perfect for a guy who's hauled in more fish and game than most of us have hauled in groceries. I've known Chris a long time, long enough to know if there's a coastline, a forest, a bad joke within 10 miles, he's already there. We hunt and fish together as often as life lets us, which means I've seen him outsmart a snapper, outwit deer, and once out-top me. You know me to say it's something. His service to this country was no different. He gave everything and some. And now, thanks to Homes for Our Troops, he's got a house built to keep up with him. A place as tough as he is, hopefully soundproof when he starts snoring after a long day on the water. When I heard Chris was getting this house, my first thought was great. Now he has no excuse to stop borrowing my tackle box. But really, it's hard to put into words what this means. Seeing him here today, surrounded by the people who love him, it's a hell of a thing. It isn't just a home, it's a testament to who he is. A fighter, a friend, a guy you want casting a line next to you in surf. So Chris, here's to you, man. A guy who's drilled in more fish and tracked more game and has earned more than a roof over his head. You're a war hero and faced the worst and came out swinging. Still cracking jokes and chasing ties. Congratulations, brother. This place is yours, and I bet you already got a spot picked out for your next trophy. The Homes for the Troops, thank you for giving Warrior what he deserves. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chad. At this time, I would like to turn the ceremony over to Homes for Our Troops President and CEO. Please give a warm welcome to Brigadier General Retired Tom Langlemeyer.
Okay, well, I'm going to try and make this fairly quick because if I was sitting out there, I'd be like the last guy you want to hear much from because you want to hear from this guy right here, and then we're going to give this home away. But thanks to everybody for coming out today. It really means a lot because with the freedoms that we all enjoy, and it's borne on the shoulders of our veterans over time, you could be doing anything you want to do today on this great morning, but you chose to be right here today celebrating with us and his family. So thanks to everybody for coming out. The escort was great. ROTC, Chad gave great thanks to all the folks that started our ceremony. Bella, as always, very beautiful job, wonderful voice, young lady. Truly, you have a gift from God. You really do. Very, very nice. And Caroline, super. I had no any other thoughts besides it was going to be perfect. When I heard you were going to do that, well, thank you. Thanks for doing the pledge with us. A few others, real quick. Our corporate partners. I like to call you Mayor. I like it better. You're always out here with us. We can't do what we do without our corporate partners, without our supporters and communities. So God bless every single one of them. To the Krauses. So the Krauses do run the Auto Group and the Kraus Sports Entertainment. But those two national partners together fully funded this build for this young man right here. And sir, I don't know who that lieutenant colonel was that you got a hold of, but I'm glad you got a hold of the right one. Because there's probably a couple out there that may not have said those same things. But that's kind of the way it goes. First responders. Always shout out to our first responders. You guys and gals get up in the morning or in the middle of the night, put that uniform on, heading out. You have no idea what is in store for you, but you do it. And as we in the military like to say, run to the sound of the guns. So when something's happening, you're moving in and all the rest of us are moving out away from it. So thank you for what you do for taking care of us. And as usual, our Thin Blue Line is headed back out and probably back on calls, back on duty. We had a ton of the deputies out here with us today. It's always great to have them. Always a shout out to the Thin Blue Line because as all of you have seen, truly some strange things going on in our country over the years, especially the last few years. A lot of disrespect for our law enforcement. And I always want to tell the Thin Blue Line that there are millions of us Americans out there that honestly do respect and love them for everything they do every day as they stand between us and somebody that would do us harm. And I also want them to know that those millions of Americans have always got their back. So if you got somebody in the Thin Blue Line, thank them for me. Vietnam veterans, where are you? Raise your hands. We got some somewhere. Oh, there's two of them right there. So our country got it horribly wrong when our Vietnam veterans came home from war. They didn't do things like this. They did things that you could not even imagine. But those veterans taught us follow-on generations what right looks like. And we promise them we're never going to let that happen again. So to our Vietnam veterans, God bless you, we love you, and welcome home. Jay, I don't know if I can say more good things about you. love coming down anytime that you're building a home. I know that there's not going to be any issues. I walked in yesterday and Todd, our construction manager, was standing there and he said, "The punch list is complete." I went, "What? You mean there's nothing left to do?" And he said, "No, truly, there's nothing left to do." So thank you. Wonderful homes, wonderful landscaping job. So thanks very much, guys. And then last, I'm down here with some staff. So Chris is back there. He's our director of development, standing at the back with the shades on. If you don't know what the director of development does, he's responsible for bringing in all the revenue so that then our construction folks can go out and spend it and build these homes. Yeah.
The mayor opened the door for me. She talked about she's used to be a fundraiser. I got to talk to you afterwards, ma'am.
Sign her up. She was volunteering right there.
Yeah.
But Chris and his team are working really 24/7 around the clock to try and get us all the resources we need. But we get resources only from patriotic Americans just like you and companies like Lockheed that are helping us out. So thanks to all y'all for doing that. Also with Chris Day from his group, and Adjust Them, as Jay will attest to, and our architect back there will attest to, we're constantly tweaking our house plans, doing them just a little bit better every time, making them better. If you went into a house that we put on the ground 5 years ago, it's significantly different today. But that's because of feedback from our veterans and families. But the most important reason we stay in contact with everybody is the rebuilding lives aspect of our mission. That's what's most important to us. And that takes place after we give them the home. They're going to do some great things. This is a young family. This has got a bunch of youngins in it. And they're going to have a lot of things to celebrate. And we want to be there to celebrate with them. But these homes aren't going to fix injuries. Things don't grow back. They're going to have these injuries for their entire lives, and they understand that. They're not grousing about it. They're not looking backwards. They're always looking forwards. But when they have issues, which will come up from time to time, we want to be there to try and help them through those issues, around, over that hill, through it, whatever we got to do to help them get past that point. But we're going to be there for the rebuilding lives aspect because that's the most important thing to us. I won't go into a need for a specially adapted home. As we walk through the day and we point out all the adaptations, it becomes very apparent to you. But it really revolves around safety and accessibility. Being in regular homes is unsafe and they can't get to everywhere in the home. In essence, what they did is sacrifice their freedom and independence for all of us because they need assistance from folks on a daily basis for mundane, regular, routine things that we all take for granted. Again, they sacrifice their freedom and independence for us, and a home should be your place of respite. And that's where a Homes for Our Troops home comes in. It's about 2,800 square feet, and quickly it's 4-bedroom, 2-bath. You'll get to walk through it, see all about it, see all the adaptations. But those adaptations, more than 40 of them, are specifically designed into every home to restore that freedom and independence to the veteran, so the veteran can take care of themselves, can do things for themselves, not have to rely on other people. None of these veterans want to rely on others for help. They're all fiercely independent, just like we are as regular people. They just want to have a regular existence and do things just like everybody else does. We build them for the veteran, but it impacts the entire family. So more than 93% of our veterans tell us after moving in their homes that the stress level across the entire family goes down. That is a big thing. Employment rates of our veterans after moving in more than doubles. Employment rates of our spouses and caregivers more than triples. Volunteering in the community, paying it forward. All these veterans are all about doing something for others, paying it forward. Before moving into their homes, about 21% of them is all that can get out and volunteer in the local community. After moving into our homes, it goes up to 82%. So you can just look through a few of those quick impacts there and know that this is a life-changing thing that's going on in their life right now. Truly life-changing. Christina gave you all the numbers. For Army Sergeant Chris Short, for Holly, the girls, the boys, et al. That wonderfully blended family that has got so much to look forward to over the next several years. Now, Chris has a lot of family here. He's got mom and dad here in the front row. We've got a couple of sisters or brothers-in-law and some additional kids back through there. That part of the family came from Texas. Mom and dad came from Arkansas. Arkansas is where Chris was originally from. Matter of fact, he was going to the University of Arkansas 9/11. 9/11 was a big motivator for a lot of the veterans that we support. That either got them interested to begin with in going to the military, or sealed the deal, and then they were going to the military. Not any different from Chris. He went in the Army, went in the infantry. His family has an unbelievable heritage in the military, and that's something you can talk to him about. I'm sure he'd be glad to talk to you about. I think even though he was in the university, it probably wasn't a question of whether or not he was going in the military. It was just a question of when he might end up in the military. He was loving it. He went down range, deployed to Afghanistan 2004, and then first part of 2005 with the 25th Infantry Division, he was severely injured. And you can talk to anybody in details you want to. Was a tough, drawn-out recovery, rehab. And like I say, these guys still go through it today. They'll regale you with stories of the most recent surgeries and things like that, because it's just something that's going to continue to affect them all through their lives. It was a tough one along the way. Caroline came. I think Chris probably refers to her often as a mini me. But I would tell you what impresses me most about this young lady is her entire lifetime has been spent being a caregiver. Not just last couple of years or a couple of weeks or once a weekend. Her entire lifetime, that's all she has ever known, is being a caregiver. And I think this guy would tell you it's one of the most important reasons he's looking forward to this home, to free her up. That she doesn't have to do all this. And it's hard to handle up here when you look at them, and both of them have got tears starting to go in their eyes a little bit. So I'll keep looking this direction for a while. And then Holly came along. This is a great match. This is a great young family. They're going to do some great things. Chris worked for the VA for more than 10 years. He is definitely a pay it forward, give it back kind of guy. Holly works with a nonprofit. So again, Jupiter, you got a great family, and I would like for you to give a warm welcome to Army Sergeant Chris Schwip.
Well, thank you all for being here again. Just told Tom he's not supposed to get me teared up before I start speaking. I can't get through a talk without doing that. And I did prepare a little bit, because when I don't, I get sidetracked and always leave things out, and I will probably anyway. But again, I just want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank the Patriot Riders, first responders for leading us in. Everybody who was a part of that. It was an amazing, an amazing ride in. So thank you. Tom already kind of gave. Actually, I'm going to go back to Chad. Thank you for your speech, Chad. That was great. I met Chad. I used to organize hunting and fishing trips to different parts of the country for veterans when I first got out of Walter Reed. And I was looking for a guy, and I got a name and a number, but it was the wrong name and number. That's how we. But it was actually the right name and number. It worked out great. But, we went on several hunting and fishing trips, and I think it took 3, but we finally got him a turkey. We got many deer, but.
Would you like to tell them that story?
That would take too long, but well, I'll sum it up. We were in Kansas on a wheat field that a good friend of mine lets us hunt, and Chad was in his track chair. He's got a track chair that lets him go off road, and the wind was blowing to the south, and the turkeys were and it just worked out for him to get out of the chair, low crawl up to the edge of the field. I got a little bit west of him and hit the call, and the birds came in, and he was able to seal the deal. So it was a pretty neat experience.
So I got out of that chair, and I was low crawl. Well, one of the things for my hunting gear now is I have suspenders for my pants. And the guy was crawling.
That's but you didn't let that stop you. Well, Tom already kind of summed up a little bit about me, but I've got a great family. Thank you guys for being here. If it wasn't for the grace of God and the love and support of my family, I would not be here. That's the truth. So I enlisted in the Army with two of my close friends after 9/11. My mom was not happy about the selection of the infantry, but that's all I wanted to do. I had a lot of other options, but that's what I wanted to do. We did. I had a really good experience in the military. I loved it. I just signed the first part of my re-enlistment before I got injured. But I got injured and things changed the course of my life a little bit. I was in 2nd Battalion of the 5th Infantry Regiment. I made team leader pretty quick, like a little over 2 years. Then I was wounded pretty shortly after making a team leader. We were on a mission in Charchina, Afghanistan. And National Geographic came in, and I was wounded in March of 05. Nat Geo came in June of 05 and did a documentary about Cobra Base, which was the base my platoon established there. And if you want to know more about it, you can watch that documentary. It's called Inside the Green Berets, and it's a very real video. There's my blast is actually in there, so it's not pretty, but it's enough about that. I got to do a lot of cool stuff. I did a rotation at West Point as a cadre instructor. Did some other neat schools. So the military was really good for me up until getting hit. I woke up in Walter Reed, and my family was there. I remember my little sister. I thought I had a really bad traumatic brain injury. I lost my right leg, obviously. Severe nerve damage to my left leg. Almost lost my right arm, but they say that. And I thought my little sister was my saw gunner. And I kept trying to get her to smuggle me out of the hospital to get on the bird so I could get back to my guys. And I was heavily medicated, so there was a lot going on there. But that started my journey of recovery, and I had a lot of support there. I came back to Arkansas, went back to school, and I had a lot of challenges during that process. I did well in school, but I had severe PTSD and a severe traumatic brain injury. And Walter Reed back then, what they focused us on was the physical recovery, not so much in between the years, and I needed a lot of that. And I had a lot of challenges up until October. I was pretty close to becoming a statistic. I was kind of miserable and didn't want to be here for a long time. But through the grace of God and the love and support of my family and friends, I found my way to the VA and got some help, and that started my journey of trying to help other veterans. So I started working there and went back to school and graduated and was able to help a lot of vets and help myself along the way. Like Mr. Krause said earlier, helping others helps us. I think it's the greatest gift we can do. And when you get up, as you're coming up the mountain or if you're on top of the mountain, it's great to put a hand down and help lift somebody up. My note is freezing here, so I am having to just free speak all of this. But all right, after getting stabilizing there, I went back to Arkansas. And in October 2014, I turned my will of my life over to the care of God, and that has really helped me in my journey along the way. Like you said, I worked at the VA for almost a decade. It wasn't over 10 years, it was just under 10 years. And it was such a great experience. I resigned last May because of some medical issues that kept coming up, and I was missing a lot of work. And since resigning, I have gotten to do a lot of activities, and a lot of the connections come from Homes for Our Troops. I got selected on the South Florida PGA team. Daryl's back there, and I told them they had the wrong guy, but they let me join anyway. We got to go to Charlotte and play in the Secretary's Cup, which is the sister tournament to the PGA Championship, and that was an amazing experience. I played a lot better on Sunday than I did on Monday. We won't get into that. And there's been so many things that have happened. I see Mike and Molly Raymond back there, another great group of people who I met through Homes for Our Troops. They played my video at a couple of different churches here, and it's all about the community, right? Connecting the dots, people coming together, building people up, changing lives, as they say. Homes for Our Troops has been an amazing organization to work with. Since being in the program, I've had multiple opportunities to speak at different events, raise awareness, and play golf in a pretty cool, several pretty cool locations that I probably would not have been to otherwise. Another great thing about it is it's connected me with a lot of guys that I was at Walter Reed with years ago, and we all go back there for care periodically. You connect there, but a lot of us have houses through Homes for Our Troops now, and it's an amazing organization. Another neat deal that I'm doing, and I wouldn't be doing it if it weren't for Homes for Our Troops, is I'm getting ready to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania in September, and I probably wouldn't have accepted the opportunity if I weren't going to have this house to recover in, because I did a triathlon a few years